Hi guys, I just wanted to review with you real quick Chapter 12, the lymphatic and immune system. The lymphatic system is the actual physical system that's in your body, and the immune is a functional system that's in your body. So it encompasses a couple different systems within the immune system, but because it's linked most strongly with the lymphatics, that's why it's grouped in this as in this textbook. So just to flip through the chapter and look at some of the ins and outs of it. First diagram that you'll see is the woman that's there on page 345 and her lymphatic system. It's shocking to most students that it is a secondary circulatory system. It's basically parallel with our blood circulatory system, except it's just one way. There's not a way in and a way out. It's just bringing everything back up to the heart. So what you'll see on page 346 is a summary of all of the lymphatic organs. What I would do is I would make a graphic organizer of this. On the very center of the paper have something like lymphatic organs or lymphatic structures or lymphatic tissues, and then off of that all of the different areas, going to red bone marrow and thymus and tonsils and right and left lymphatic duct and so on and so forth, everything coming off of that center word and then having descriptions off of that. Because just the act of making that graphic organizer and thinking how the words relate to each other is really good and helpful in your studying, especially for all of you visual people, which I know there's many of you. Then on page 347 you get to your first sequence, which you guys know the drill with the sequences. Make a note card of each and see if you can put them in order. I think that's a really good way. You can also just flow chart it out. Just draw the flow chart on your paper. This is step 1, arrow to step 2, so on and so forth, of how the lymph circulates in the body. Then on page 348 we get into the description of the actual lymph node. The best way to understand this is to redraw it. You can trace it, or just put your sheet of paper on it and try to trace it. I think it's better to draw it freehand, even if your drawings are lame and hard to figure out. It's still activating that other side of your brain that you wouldn't normally be turning on if you weren't drawing and kind of stretching yourself. So I think that's a good idea. Moving into the immune system, you get into your first and second line of defense. That's on page 350 all the way into 351 and 352. That's another one that I would do a graphic organizer for. Have immune system, and then first line of defense is one arrow, and then off of that first line of defense all of these structures like the skin, the nose and mouth, the mucous membranes, etc. all coming off of the first line of defense, and then your secondary defenses or your innate immunity coming off of another branch, off of that one central word, immunity or immune system. So you have on your second line of defense everything that's there listed on page 352 and 353 actually. Then you get into how the body actually responds and how the cells are actually responded. So this is going to be another flowchart activity that you're going to be looking at, and that's on page 355. Flowchart that out or sequence it out on different note cards. Same thing on page 356 and 357. It's a pretty complicated process, so it's really important that you understand what causes what, that kind of chain of events that occurs. There's another flow chart that you can do on page 358. 359 is showing you the actual immunoglobulins themselves, the different types of antibodies. That one's just straight memorization. AGI does this, AGA does that, AGD, AGM, AGG, etc. What they do so that you remember. You don't have to know the shapes of them, but you should know what they do. So shapes aren't that important. I'm not going to give you drawings or anything like that. Eventually, towards the last little section of this chapter is HIV, and the symptoms and how it attacks is all important to know, but there's nothing really to draw or any special tips or tricks for this one. Just read it and understand it. Please keep me posted if you have any questions, and good luck. Bye.